Hi everybody, welcome to Developer Diary number 2 for Thirsk Saga. I have an outline here I'm going to talk about, or it covers the topics that I want to discuss. I know it's been quite some time, but I have been working pretty steadily on the mod. In fact, comparing it to some of my past mods, it could be released as a standalone mod now. It offers about an hour and a half to 2 hours of content. The main quest line is complete almost in its entirety. I'm still replacing some of the dialogue placeholders, but from a scripting and pacing standpoint, it's all laid out and pretty ironclad. Obviously it'll have to be bug tested some more, but it's ready. And so at this point, depending on where I'm at, like when I did Blood of the Nord, it was just release it. That's it. And the mod was standalone. But the way this works is, and one of the things that excites me, is there are a lot of opportunities for side quests because it's open-ended. There's not a concrete, there is a concrete ending to the main quest, but because Thirsk is this open, active quest hub, it can host a lot of quest givers, a lot of little opportunities that pop up, especially since it's confirmed that you're the Dragonborn because of the DLC requirements. There's a certain degree of fame that goes into that, and I'm hoping to use that for role-playing and not just for the quest-giving opportunities, because the player or the character, the Dragonborn, is going to have to live with that. People that are going to try to look to him or her for everything from assistance to even, again, I'm going to explore, it's just my nature, I'm going to look into the more nefarious side of things and see how people might try to use you or use your power. That's something I did. And the mod I would compare this to actually the most in structure and scope is The Inheritance, which had a decent sized main quest, and then it had a ton of side content and scripted content. And side quests are a lot of fun for me, and some of my most enjoyable memories modding have actually been making side quests, because they tend to be really just arbitrary ideas that don't necessarily fit into a larger narrative. They just come to you, and because of their scope, you can just slide them in there, so to speak, as this kind of fun side thing, and especially if they're tied to choices that the player makes earlier either in the vanilla gameplay or in the mod itself. And I'm actually going to try to feed off both of those sources. There are going to be some choices, and I think that offering side quests based on those choices really reinforces the sense of consequence, whether it's negative or positive. And some of that will be in the form of gated content, and some of it will be just things that kind of continue vanilla gameplay or vanilla choices or feed off of those. And I think side quests, again, are just, I know some people, they may not appreciate them, or that's not the right word. They don't relish them. But for me, they really enrich gameplay because it's not so focused. It doesn't have to be a quest or a mission that is going to make or break the entire world. It's a smaller opportunity for you to explore your characterization and the world that you live in. It's more about the world and other people than yourself or the larger story, and I like that. I think sometimes in Bethesda games you get so wrapped up in these, your destiny is saving the fucking world or going after the MacGuffin or whatnot, that you lose these chances to really examine other people and how they inhabit this world and survive and get through, and how you deal with some of these situations. And really, I think that's, for a lot of people, that's one of the major criticisms of Fallout 4, and it was a big regression for Bethesda relative to Skyrim. You can criticize Skyrim's main quest, and even in Oblivion for that matter, but especially for me, Oblivion's really a great standard for side quests. I know it has its problems, but there's some of the most fantastic side quests, the Dark Brotherhood, the one with the painting and things like that. I think anybody that's played through those, I by and large find them really enjoyable, or can appreciate that they're well-written quests and are just a blast to play through. And I'm hoping to sum it up, my main goals for side quests are to follow up on player choices with concrete consequences. I also want to expand opportunities for role-playing. And finally, just random ideas that don't normally fit in the game or wouldn't fit in the main quest line. Good example from my mod, The Inheritance for Fallout New Vegas. Repaid in full. You restore Ranger Station Charlie. I think that it was Ranger Station Charlie, north of Novak, and it was just one of those things. There was an opportunity in the vanilla game, something that felt like it should be followed up on, and that with that it was Ranger Beaumont, who was an actual character referenced in the game. I made him an actual character, and then gave you a small quest that culminates in you defending the Ranger Station. It's one of my favorite quests that I've made, and it really didn't really work in anything else but as a small side quest. And again, I can go on and on about side quests, but I think the best example, at least recently, is Witcher 3. People have quests in that game that, I mean, I know everybody's going to talk about the Bloody Baron, which is part of the main quest line, and that's probably the premier quest in that game, but there are a lot of other small ones that are going to stand out, and that everybody, you know, when you replay the game, you're really excited. Like, I know I'm it's like when I'm eating, you know, I try to save like the best tasting thing. When I'm eating my sushi, I try to save the yellowtail for last. When I'm playing Witcher 3 or a game like that, I try to save my favorite side quests for the very end. And it's not to say that the other ones are bad. I mean, there may be a few California rolls or, you know, tuna thrown in there, but they're not the yellowtail. The yellowtail's the favorite. That's what I save for the end. And I'm hoping to have some more yellowtail side quests. Some of them are just going to be, I mean, just to give you an idea with no spoilers, one of the things that's going to come up later in my mods, or it's a group that I'm hoping that spans multiple mods, is Sons of Shore. Now, what they're based on is the Jomsvikings, which were an actual group in history, and they're going to be, again, taking some liberties here, trying to meld history with Elder Scrolls. I appreciate the differences there, but you know, you've got, I mean, it's not too far-fetched, especially in light of what's happening in Skyrim. You get a group of Nords that with a lot of either military and or maritime skills that are really fervent in following the old Nordic pantheon, and they're going to be mercenaries. Not necessary, and again, not a lot of gray morality there. And this, I'm hoping there's a side quest here that introduces you to them, even if it's a short little quest, and it's going to involve some naval battles and things like that. That I'm actually really excited. I love because you can set them in a new world space out in the ocean. There's less baggage from altering the world space or anything type of thing, and you make your own world space. You have a naval battle. It can be a lot of fun, perhaps raiding new locations and new world spaces. Again, small scale. I'm not like remaking fucking Bleak Rock Isle or anything like that. It's going to be manageable, but I'm hoping fun. Another major thing, since I was talking about Morrowind, and I'm really serious about doing this, is a Fighters Guild questline and a Thieves Guild questline. Again, not fully fledged. These are going to be more, think about as Solstheim develops and the economy picks up, it's only natural that there would be some interest by these guilds in Solstheim, since it's technically a part of Morrowind in the events of Dragonborn. And so the Fighters Guild want to have a presence, the Thieves Guild want to have a presence, and the thing is, at some point the player will have to choose between them, and I'm serious as cancer about that you can't be all things to all people in my mods, and I really want to reinforce that with this and have the player choose between helping the Fighters Guild, and again, not becoming this is just a branch. You're not going to be king of the fucking Fighters Guild or the Thieves. Yes, you have, and it will be scripted in a way to reflect that if you're head of the Thieves Guild in Skyrim, but again, Morrowind Thieves Guild is separate. There'll be some professional courtesy and whatnot, but even then, you're going to be more in an assistance role. And I think players, at least it would be a little refreshing to where, again, you're not the center of attention of the fucking, you're not the golden child, all right? Eddie Murphy's not, escorting you through the fucking streets of New York with your magical fucking dagger flying from, wait, is that the same actor that plays fucking, the head of the patriarch of the Lannister family? Son of a Tywin Lannister? It may have been the villain in The Golden Child. I think that was Tywin Lannister. That's what you get on this channel. Again, really informative, germane to Thirsk Saga. But anyways, it crossed my mind, and I got completely off track with this. The commenters are gonna love it, but yeah, that's I don't want you to always be the golden child. Sometimes you're just in a supporting role, and that's not to say it won't have lots of action and choices and consequences. Of course, I'm gonna try to, there's gonna be action and violence and whatnot, and there are a lot of branching quest lines in the vanilla gameplay. Finally, scripted encounters. That's something that are, now that I've finished the vanilla quest line, that's actually on my list of things to do are dialogue, then scripted encounters, and then I will start on the side quests. Scripted encounters are very important to me because, again, they're not quests or anything like that, but you get little moments where, say in like Fallout, in Skyrim, you get the Blood Horkers trying to track you down and kill you, or in Witcher 3, if you double cross the Scoia'tael, the chick with the facial tattoos, she'll bushwhack you outside the city. Again, small touches, but they mean a lot, and I've done them, and I've tried to do them as much as possible in my mods. And I did them. I started doing them in New Vegas Bounties 1. In fact, really, if you go further back, the Duelists, in a way, is a lot of scripted encounters. And if I ever remake that mod, essentially, it's going to be one elaborate scripted encounter mod that feeds off player choices, because I think that it really gives a sense of that ripple effect in the world based on the choices you make, and it doesn't happen quickly. I think that there's a lot to be said for a slow burn in scripted encounters. Sometimes mine take a while for it to catch up with you. You could be playing the game for weeks, and then later on something will happen, or somebody will try to kill you. That reminds you that, oh yeah, I did this, or I made this choice a while ago. And then that's another thing I encourage you to do in the game when you play through this mod, is revisit locations after you've cleared them. They may not be as they were when you initially went through. I'm big on evolving these dungeons, or showing or changing them based on what you've done or who you side with. So locations will change, people will change, and hopefully this is going to have some fun content that, again, at the very least, it'll be a fun distraction. It's not too serious, but if a few of these side quests I feel have some real potential that I think people, I'll be interested to see what choices people make and their decision-making process. So again, thanks everybody for watching, and again, I've got a lot of support both in the Nexus forums, the Reddit, and YouTube, of course. My commenters, stalwart and steady. But thank y'all, everybody. And again, really looking forward to releasing the mod later on. No timetable on that when it's done in true Duke Nukem Forever / Bannerlord fashion. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.